And we are live. Cool. All right, so negotiations. Fun, fun.
Well, we gave you our terms, so
Rejection.
No.
I'm trying to sign back in so I can see what we did.
Let's see.
I'd find the email.
I know, I'm trying to read the email too.
So you have a $2 million offer, cash offer. I don't have my sheet that I had printed out nice and neat with all of my our little bids that we had on it.
So how much capital do you propose to invest in this round? 2 million? Okay. We are actually looking for 2.5 million. I think it was. Right, Kenton?
Yeah, correct.
And let's see. I have to take a screenshot of mine. Yes, so we are interested in raising 2.5 million in a Series A round.
Mm-hmm.
duly noted.
Okay, so
okay.
What kind of return would we be getting on a 2.5 million investment versus a 2 million investment?
Like 1%. No big deal.
Oh, perfect.
That's terrible. I found it! All right.
Okay, so
So are you asking for like what type percentage of the company you're going to get, or what are you looking for exactly with this return?
So let's say, for example, if we gave you $2.2 million, and we would expect a reasonable rate of return of you being able to double our investment after after a certain period of time before your Series B or whatever. If we gave you 2.5 million instead of 2 million, how would that affect the rate of return? What extra leverage is that extra $500,000 going to give us?
Let's see. What are our numbers saying? Let me pull up my graph.
I don't know if we computed that. We know you guys are getting about, what is it, 20% ownership? Is that what?
At an $8 million valuation, we would be getting 25%.
At a 2 million investment?
At a 2 million investment, 8 million valuation, we'll be getting 25%.
Okay, so we did an pre-value valuation of 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking for the 2.5 million, so that would have given you guys 20% ownership.
Okay.
That would be 12 million put together. You divide it off of that, because if they're giving us 2 million, we are valuing ourselves at 10. That'd put them at 12 divided by the 2. Right? Am I doing my math right there?
So we'd be no, we'd be looking at the post-money valuation. So if you're doing a pre-money valuation of 10 million, and then we give you 2, then yeah, the post money would be 12 million, and then we would be at
17%.
slightly below 20% of that, whatever. We'd have 1/6 of the company there. But if you did a pre-money valuation of 8 million and we gave you 2, that'd be a post money of 10, and then we would have 20%.
Wait, so by giving us, so if we are valued at 8%, right? You're sorry, at 8 million right now, you're giving us 2 million, so it'd be a total of 10 million.
Correct.
Isn't it based off of the 10? So you take 10 million divided by the 2, and that's your percentage of the company?
Right. So is my understanding the bitch said that it was a $10 million pre-money valuation, not post-money.
Right, so it'll be a 12.5 post money. Post value.
Right. So 12.5 post, and so. Right, so I think we're just not following the numbers here, because we do a 12.5 post-money valuation and we have given you 2.5 million of that, then yeah, that is a 20% stake. However, I think we were talking about $12 million valuation, post-money valuation, and us having given you $2 million of that, which is significantly less than 20%.
It's 17%. So I have that 20% is what you guys are asking for right now, because we're at 8. So I'm doing, you take the 8 plus the 2 million, maybe this was 10 million, take 10 million divided by the 2, which you're giving in, and that's 20%? Or do I take the 8 divided by the 2? Why am I doing this wrong? I don't know why it's not clicking for me.
So you want to look at the percentage of ownership at the post-money valuation, because right now y'all have 100%, regardless of what you calculate your valuation at. So if we're buying in to your company by giving you funds,
2 million is what you're at right now, is what you're offering.
correct.
And so you're saying that our pre-valuation is 6 million or 8 million?
8. They're valuing us at 8 million.
Okay.
The post-money valuation was 8 million, so we're pre-money was 6.
Your post.
Oh, okay,
That's
sorry,
what
so
it was
the
at.
post. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I needed to know. Okay. That's where you get 25%. Now my numbers work for what you're offering. Okay. Well, shall we just tell them all of our numbers? I don't have all of the numbers that we've been planning on. Is that the best way to go with this, since I'm never done? I think it would be good to have it all out there, what we're asking for and what you guys are offering. Or is that, how do we want to go about this, Betty?
Or do we need to come to an agreement on this first and then move on?
Well, how do we come to an agreement on the price if it's really more important about everything else?
I think we need to decide on the pre-money valuation before we do anything else, because that seems to be the sticking point in how much our percentage owned will be. No matter how much we end up giving you guys, it depends on what you guys value yourself before.
I love it. That's a great idea. So what did you guys base your pre-money evaluation on?
So we based our pre-money valuation on how much money we'd be willing to contribute and what percentage of ownership that would give us, and then we worked our way backwards from that.
So, okay. Do you have any comeback, Betty, on that?
So I'm trying to say it without saying it. I don't know if they're supposed to know about the confidential stuff. No. So
you can use it if you want to, but
I'm sorry.
We know stuff.
So you know how I don't know if you guys had like a extra confidential sheet that you guys were sent, but we got sent like a confidential.
We're not allowed to disclose that?
I don't know. It said not to share with
It's supposed to be
anybody
a secret. That's like part of why we're negotiating.
Paying. Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like what we know.
And what you know.
Right. So.
All right. Here's my analysis. Yay. So let's see. we're looking at this next year having $8 million in sales, and we've had good margins of 28%, and we feel that because of this, we can, it values us greater than the $6 million that you're valuing us right now, and we, yeah, we think we're worth $10 million is where we're at right now as our pre-valuation.
Okay.
We're seeking the 2.5 million because it'll help us to grow and break even in our company.
Correct.
Right. So the thing with evaluation is, right now there's a lot of risk in giving in valuing your company that high because you don't really have that much experience off of the West Coast. So if we're going to make some heavy investments to take you guys national, that's a lot of risk involved in there because really haven't really validated beyond the West Coast what how well your company will actually do. I mean, you've had a couple outliers here and there from people that highly demand it, like West Coast transplants to the East Coast. But do you have any idea as to how your company would catch on the East Coast, or is this just going to strictly be a West Coast thing?
So we've actually had people interested in us going on to the East Coast, but we don't have the means right now, the funds to expand. And so, let me see, I have a number here. Or maybe I don't. I just read that too. Okay, so it says, so we're pretty much national distributors who work with large grocery. Okay, so there's larger national distributors that work with large grocery chains that are interested in us being on the East Coast, and this would ramp a nationwide coverage of within the 18 months, and within the next 18 months. And then we have coffee shops that are also interested in a few locations, and they want to stock about 800 of their stores in the next. And so we're looking at about, I think it was like 20%, 10 to 20% growth in the next coming year. So, how would you guys feel about putting us at 8 million pre-value, giving us a 2.5 million investment, and that'll put you guys at a 24%, not 25, but 24% ownership?
It's funny because I just punched those numbers into the spreadsheet myself to kind of fool around with that. Heather, what do you think about 24% at that number?
I think that 2.5 is still a little steep for somebody that doesn't have a whole lot of experience. I think I would maybe go up to 2.3.
What do you mean by we don't have a lot of experience? I mean, we've taken this company from the ground and brought it up to being forecasted next year as an $8 million in revenue. What do you mean by we don't have experience on this?
I mean, you don't have experience in taking it national.
And so that devalues our company?
No, that means it's more risky for us. It doesn't make it any less valuable or your product any less good. It just means that if we're going to put that much money into it, if we did come up to 2.3 or 2.5, then we would need something else to make sure that we're managing our risk a little better, like putting somebody that we want on the board of directors.
So right now, so what are you guys proposing? I'm trying to pull up my email here. For some reason, I've lost it. And I think it's in your guys' long email chain, somewhere in the middle of it. It's the one that Matt sent.
I think they're requesting one member of Mumate, one DPV member, one independent director, also one non-voting board observer position for Mumate co-founder.
Right. So just coming back to the numbers a little bit, I think what they're trying to say is the more money we put in, the more risk we'll be assuming.
So the more control we want to have.
For you guys. So if we do say, if we give you the 2,500, I'm sorry, I'm doing this in the millions. If we give you the 2.5 million new for investment, I think it's reasonable, even though you're on target. You haven't hit, but you're on target for your 8 million sales this year on the West Coast. I think we might be willing to give you a bump up our pre-money valuation to maybe 7,000 for you, and then we can talk around that the 2.3 or the 2.5 new investment. That gives us, this way we're assuming some of, more of the risk there. In this case, we also have, this bumps our percentage of ownership up to 26%, which is comfortable for us in assuming that risk. Gives us a better rate of return.
Well, we don't honestly need all the money up right now. I mean, we need this money over the next coming years. It's not as necessary. There's probably more options in the future to go elsewhere, Betty, if we really wanted to in this.
Right. Let me see. So if you guys are willing to do 8 or 8 million pre-value and then 2.3 investment. And then
I fail to see, like, you're offering 2.3 million instead of 2.5, what we're asking. I mean, the difference here is $200,000, which is nil compared to what you're already offering. It's not, $100,000 isn't that much more when you're talking about millions already.
It's not your money.
Well, and I mean, doing a 2.3 investment would only give you guys 22% of the company versus 24.
And I'm willing to talk about it. I think that's what they want to offer. They can offer that.
Mm-hmm. Betty, what did you just say for your initial pre-money value? I completely
we went from 10. We brought it down to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys were putting us at 6. Now you guys, so if we do 8 pre-value and then, like Heather said, an investment of 2.3, because that's what you guys would feel more comfortable, that would only give you guys a 22% ownership of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you guys did the whole 2.5, it would give you guys 2% more.
Okay, hang on a second.
What's the matter? Okay.
And I see if we did a round 2.
Try to do this. Please. You can do.
What are we looking at calculating right now?
I'm doing some back of the
Okay.
envelope here.
So to take it back a step, are we all okay with the $8 million evaluation?
Yes.
Okay. So then right now we're still discussing if it's whether you're. It sounds like you're comfortable with 2.3 million offering, and we're still talking about whether it's 2. Anyways, and we're kind of at 2.5. We'd like 2.5. That would be ideal for us, but that's still something we're discussing there. The 2.3 to 2.5 million, how much you want to invest into it.
Right.
So I think we can think about that, and let's go talk about the other things. I mean, we're talking about $200,000 here, or 2% of the company difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can move forward if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are offering for on the board a. Do we want to talk about the option pool or the board next? What do you guys want to talk about?
Well, option pool is the next bullet point. So I like order.
Okay.
So for an option pool, we were thinking 15% reserved for future, especially top-tier management candidates. Regardless of your current level of experience with bringing the company, to where it is now versus taking it national. Once you guys grow, you're going to need an experienced executive team in order to help your company hit the next level. And because of that, executives enjoy stock options almost as much as they enjoy cold hard cash. So we want to make sure we're reserving an appropriate number of stock options for the future executive team. So we're making sure you're attracting the real top tier candidates.
Okay, so 15% is your offer. Betty, what was it that we requested?
15%.
I love it. How cool, guys. Okay, we're all right with that.
Nice.
So then let's go on to the board.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So to recap, we were looking at a 3-member board, which would be Maxwell, the current CEO of Mumate, a DPV member, so a partner from our firm, and an independent director, which basically be somebody that either one of us nominates that is acceptable to the other party as well. Also, we do realize that that Mumate does have a founder-co-founder relationship. We would just having an even number of people on the board is not ideal. There's too many chances of a stalemate and gridlock in today's business environment. You have to be as agile as possible. However, that saying, we do recognize the co-founder's contribution and want her input. So we would be offering a non-voting board position for the Mumate co-founder.
We were looking to get 4 members, 2 founders, 1 in the VC, and then 1 outsider, I believe. Right, Kenton?
Mm-hmm.
When you say outsider, do you mean outsider outside of you and outside of us? Completely separate, or just outside
I think it was an outside that we selected. Let me see my notes.
That would be your independent director, I believe, that we both approved together.
Approved, right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, like I mentioned, the whole
Board
having
position.
an even number of board members is really bad juju.
That's just asking for a tie.
Betty, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with having a 5-member board here? I don't think we have. I don't have anything against there being 5 members, but maybe I just don't have enough experience. What if we had 2 members on the board, And then what if the VC could put 2 on the board, and then we had our tiebreaker for the independent director on there as well? I don't know if that's wrong. Maybe we pay somebody we don't need to be paying. What are the qualms for that? I don't have anything against it, but that breaks the
aside
tie.
from paying them a salary, aside from the money issue, it's if there's 2 of us and 2 of you and 1 person who's outside, that person is probably always going to be at risk of being bought by one of us.
Isn't
to
it
do
already at
whatever
risk,
we want.
though, with 3 people, though? I feel like
No,
the chances are the same.
well, yeah, but it's only going to be 1 person. It's going to be one-on-one. It's not 2 people are asking me to do this and 2 people are asking me to do that. And there's literally no way for a tie.
Well,
You know,
I'm thinking we can assume that these negotiations are being made in good faith, and that when it comes to board appointments, those are going to be made in good faith as well, and that neither party would go forth and try and unduly influence a member of the board.
it's
Yeah, I mean,
extremely
we don't really
optimistic.
want to go to work with you guys if we feel like you guys are going to try to connive us and
Right.
do stuff. We feel like there's promise here, so that's why we want to look into working with you guys.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I mean, we just feel like, I mean, Taylor ultimately was the inventor and the founder, the original founder, and so we feel like her input is much needed than as Maxwell. So we would ideally like to have both of them. And I guess this is where we can negotiate versus the investing and how much investment you guys take if we're able to get both our co-founders on the board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been pretty 50-50 and working together, Taylor and Maxwell, so I'm not sure how you guys feel about having 2 of them, and then I mean, I know you guys have reservations about the whole voting.
Yeah, there's a voting thing, and there's also a company structure thing to look at as well. So I mean, right now Taylor and Maxwell are pretty equal in the company, being co-founders. However, um, once you get once you put on your big boy shoes, for want of a better term, what's going to happen is Taylor is going to wind up reporting to Maxwell. So there's going to be a subordinate relationship there, but they'd be equals on the board. So that is going to be like super, super messy. Just because the day-to-day management, what's going to happen is Maxwell's going to be doing the direction for the day-to-day management, but then Taylor can come to board meetings and just totally try and trump them, or not necessarily consciously undermine the CEO, but it certainly weakens the position of the CEO, which is why we suggested the non-voting board observer position. I mean, we do value Taylor's input as product inventor and co-founder, and we definitely want to keep that, keep that influence. But I don't believe that a board member position is the right way to go, because as you can see, the board, even over the course of this negotiation, the size of the board has already almost doubled. And again, as the size of the board increases, decision making just slows way, way down.
So what are you guys willing to offer then? It's important to us to have Taylor on the board. What are you willing to give us to
She is on the
relinquish?
board. She's just a non-voting member of the board.
Yeah, but we really want Taylor as a board member voting. But it sounds like you guys are proposing to not have that voting capacity. That is important to us. So are you willing to give us anything in exchange for having her be a non-voting observer position?
Yeah, so what we can do for that is normally common stockholders, the way it would work is you would be you'd get 25% of your stock vested at the close of the deal, with the remaining 75% vesting periodically over the next 36 months. And we'd be willing to speed that up, say to 24 months.
So wait, can you help me understand that better? Because actually I have a question on exactly what does that mean.
Sure.
Can you explain it to me a little bit better?
Sure, absolutely. So let's say, for example, Susie is an employee of a big company, and as part of her employment, she gets 100 shares of common stock. Um, as soon as Susie signs her employment options, 25 shares of that would vest. So she'd be able to sell, trade, um,
Mommy,
sell or trade those
fish
shares
or
basically immediately. But she wouldn't have access to the other 75 shares until until the 36-month period passes. So, say, generally what happens is she would get, say, 2 and a fraction stock options per month for the next 36 months. So at the end of 36 months from the time she signs her contract, she will have the 100 shares. But at what point she'd be able to, to sell, trade, whatever you do with stock options. Um, but say if Susie leaves after 2 years, then she would only um, have rights to 50% of the stock, and the other 50 shares would go back into the company pool. Does that make sense?
So if a founder gets, for some reason, we leave the company, we don't get all our shares over the next 36 months, is what that's saying? Did I understand the last part right?
Yes, that's correct.
And is that percent, so we're talking about the $2 million coming in cash, is that what's vesting, or is it something else that I'm trying to figure out?
So based on the percentage allocation of the option pool, so basically we'd have the 15% of the option pool, your share, the VC firm share of 24%, and then what would happen over that is we'd pick a number, say that's 10,000 shares or however many shares there are, and those shares will be divided amongst those three pools. However,
The percentages.
yeah, yeah, but around those three percentages. Um, the common stockholders, so the founders, future employees, everybody, in the non-VC firm uh, percentages would then be subject to, having 25% vesting immediately. So say if, each co-founder gets 1,000 shares, again, this is just a hypothetical number, 250 of those shares they'd be able to cash out in some way or form immediately. And then periodically be able to get more of those. It has nothing real to do with how much the money is received or anything like that. It's basically how quickly they'd be able to act on their equity ownership in the company. And the reason why they do it over vesting periods is so it's an incentive to stay with the company longer and help build its value. Because if you got 100% of your shares right off the bat, boom, congratulations, and it's a successful company, you can just get your shares and then turn around and immediately cash them out, and you have no incentive to go to the company. But if they vest over a period of N years, then you're incented to stay those years and make the stock value more and more, so that if you do decide to cash out when all your options are vested, then you get a bigger payday.
Okay, I think I understand that a little bit better.
Okay.
Betty, what do you want to do?
So you're offering us a 24 months instead of, what was it, 36? Is that what you're saying? 25 at 24 instead of
25 at close, and then the remaining 75% over 24 months.
24. Okay. And this is to be able to keep two members, one voting, or co-founders, two co-founders, just one non-voting?
That's correct, yeah.
I think this is doable. This is What do you think,
Is that
Kenton?
for me? I don't know. I'm all for it. I mean, I have no idea. I
I
don't fully
know.
understand the consequences behind all this. I do feel like so all you're really giving us is the capacity to get money faster
Yes.
instead
Yeah.
of, and I don't, since it's not real money to me, it doesn't mean anything to me right now.
Right.
Um,
That's what it's like.
That's yeah. I guess I have no plans or dreams with it, so I don't know. Um, uh, yeah, guys, I don't know. I'm okay with it, I guess.
Yeah, well,
So,
I'm just thinking about our other.
other negotiations. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we want it to be 2.5 million. That's what we want, and we're willing
Yeah.
to do that with a non-voting board observer. If that's okay with you guys, that's what we would like in exchange.
Heather, are you okay with that? I have no problem with that.
It's not my favorite, but I'll do it.
Okay.
So as I understand it, we're getting the 2.5 million cash investment, and we are also getting 36%, 24-month vesting linear as an option. Is that fair with everyone?
Yes.
Betty?
Yes, sorry. I'm writing it
Okay.
down so I don't forget.
We can just
Okay.
go back and rewatch this.
That's what I'm trying not to do.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Okay. Is there anything else we needed to negotiate? Let's see.
They have their other terms they proposed. It comes down to what we know about it, and so we don't know much about it.
Yeah,
I
there
don't
was a
understand
lot
what
of
this
lingo in there that we were like, what? And we're like, yep, this is Matthew.
consent of majority of preferred shares required for.
Okay, so the first bullet point about the convertible preferred stock with an 8% annual dividend, one-time non-participating liquidation preference, and no redemption rights. I don't know what that is either.
But it
You've
sounds
seen it somewhere, I'm
reasonable.
sure.
Yeah. The voting rights for Series A, if converted common, so generally preferred stock, which we would be getting as a venture capital firm as opposed to common stock, we would get common stock generally does not have as much voting rights in the direction of the company as preferred stock. So we would want to keep any company direction between the Series A and a potential Series B. If our preferred shares were converted to common, we would want to maintain voting as if we still held the preferred shares. Anti-dilution protection basically just prevents you guys from going out and having a whole bunch of VC firms come in and give you a ton of money beyond the 2.5 million that you're already requesting for in this Series A, which would absolutely kill our percentage of ownership in the company, which we wouldn't like. Pro rata right to participate in future financings, that basically gives us right of first refusal for Series B.
We get first dibs.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I think everything.
So that's the right, if you want to pay for it and invest more into the company, you guys can say, yes, we'd like to pay for it. Instead of us going and asking other people first, we ask you first. That's what that is.
Correct.
That's not saying,
Yeah.
we don't think you guys should get cash again, so you can ask for more in the future.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then we just ask that consent of majority of preferred shares required. So basically, the following expenses need to go to a stock option vote, which is basically dividends on common shares, repurchasing common shares, loans to employees, merging or selling the company, creation of a new stock or bond that the company is being secured against, incurring debt that would get us lower than first on the list of creditors as their Series A financiers. Change in principal business, so instead of selling Mumate drinks, you decide to sell Mumate yoga mats and forget the drink business. Um, investments in third parties, if you decide to, all decide to invest in, a yoga studio, a yoga studio franchise or whatever, and then major capital expenditures such as, opening a new manufacturing plant, things like that.
Okay. I have no qualms with any of those.
Okay.
Neither do I.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I think this concludes the negotiation.
Yay!
Good
Good work, everyone.
Okay. All right. Now that we've concluded the negotiation, Kent, I'm going to tell you why the vesting is important and what it has to do with the board, because I didn't want to do this while we were still technically negotiating about it. So if we've got 3 members on the board. We've got your girl, Maxwell, our partner, and our independent partner. And you guys are taking it, and we're taking it national. And then Maxwell just completely does not have the skills to take it nationally. What would happen is if DPV and the independent party voted to replace Maxwell as the CEO, if she vests quicker, then she gets more value quicker in case she's fired sooner as CEO. Basically, and that's the scenario that they're planning for in this situation.
Well, that sucks. Well, that stinks. I didn't know they could vote him off the board and fire him like that. That's
Absolutely.
fun. Well, I guess we'll have to choose somebody we really like then to be our third-party individual.
It has to be approved by us.
I thought we both had to approve it, right?
Yep. So everybody has to approve it. But yeah, that's
well, that's always a risk when somebody invests and purchases your stuff in your company. I mean, that's
right.
I mean, if Maxwell is terrible at it, she should be replaced.
Right.
That's a realization we have is, okay, if we can't do this, but we don't really want to lose our share in the company. Mm-hmm. We're fired. That's good to know. I learned something. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right. Anything else? It's like 10 to 11 here.
Oh, let's be done.
So,
Matt, can you post the link right after this?
I will email that all out to y'all.
Okay.
All right,
I think good, guys.
Alrighty.
It's good business.
Yes.
At like 9 o'clock my time. No.
Yeah.
All right. Have fun with your open windows tonight.
Oh, thanks. Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.